next topic is healthcare, and gentlemen, we will have 2 minutes each, and Mr. Snicker, you will begin after the videos.
We've got the President of the United States telling us that health care is a right. It's not a right.
Mario, I want to let you know that I voted for the health care bill for the following reasons. 3,500 Floridians lose their insurance every week. Governor Chris talks about Cover Florida. It only covers 6,000 people out of 19 million. 25% of Florida is without insurance. Mr. Rubio is talking about what he would like to do with a lot of prerequisites. He's talking about taking tax cuts away from small businesses up to 35% right now that will allow them to give health care insurance to their employees. He's talking about taking a prescription drug benefit away from seniors that they did not have before. And he's talking about taking rights away from hardworking Floridians to stand up against insurance companies. The people that are upset right now are insurance companies, because now they have to put 85% of the health care dollar towards the patient's health. Who's also upset? The pharmaceutical companies, because they have to discount drugs more.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
very
you, Mr.
important
Meek.
that we move forward.
Thank you.
Because clearly one of the biggest issues that the next senator from Florida is going to have to confront is health care reform, which by that point will have been the law of the land for the better part of a year. Governor Christ, you said a month ago there may be parts of it that you don't have to scrap. So if you become the U.S. Senator from Florida, what parts would you scrap? What parts of it would you keep? And what can you do as long as Barack Obama is president?
I think one thing that's very important, and I think everybody agrees on this, Chris, that pre-existing instances should not be a discriminatory tool that's used by insurance companies to not give people insurance. I think what we need to do is go ahead and repeal this thing. Let's start over. Let's take an opportunity to do what's right for the people. The real problems with health care are access and affordability, and we have approached those in Florida. In fact, the Speaker and I worked together on a plan called Cover Florida Health Care, and it's coverfloridahealthcare.com. We negotiated with the private sector. We reduced the cost to those who were uninsured. We were able to provide access, and the average cost for health insurance in Florida went from about $600 a month for an individual to about $150 a month. No tax dollars involved, no government mandates. I think Washington could learn a lot from Florida.
Let me ask you about that, Governor Christ, because Cover Florida, we looked into it, and you signed it into law 2 years ago, stripped down insurance for stripped down prices. As you say, all voluntary, no subsidies, no mandates. We looked at it. 1/10 of 1% of Florida's uninsured have signed up. It's hardly Cover Florida, Governor.
Well, I think it's important that it's Cover families. People who get it, like it. They understand that it makes a difference in their lives. It gives them the peace of mind that they deserve, and I think it's important to understand that.
Now that the health care reform bill is law, would you, if you go to Washington, work to repeal it? How would you do it, given the fact that Barack Obama will still be president and could veto a repeal? And I want to ask you about an article that you wrote last December. Let's put it up on the screen. Any solution should ultimately seek to promote a vibrant private market where individuals can buy health insurance the way we buy auto insurance, independent of our employer, with the kind of flexibility and coverage we need and at affordable prices. Mr. Rubio, would you move away from an employer-based health insurance system?
Well, it's not about moving away. It's about providing an alternative to it. And let me first tell you about this bill. There are so many things wrong with this bill. We don't have enough time.
What you're talking about?
In the health care bill.
Okay.
There's so much time. We don't have enough time to talk about it, whether it's tricky accounting or other. But here's the main one. We can't afford it. The bill, when the true numbers are applied to it, add to our debt and bring us closer to insolvency as a nation, so we have to move away from it. The solutions are like those that were outlined in that article that you pointed to a moment ago. It's about allowing individuals to have the same tax benefits that their employer gets when they try to buy insurance from a marketplace. It's about allowing small businesses to pool together to buy insurance coverage and to do so across state lines. It's about tort reform. The employer would always have the option to continue to offer health insurance, but our congressmen and congresswomen and members of the Senate get their insurance that way. You get a medical payment and you use that money, on average about 72% of the plans. You use that money to go out to an employer, to an insurance marketplace and buy the health insurance that you want to buy. If we could give the consumer more control over their health care dollars, you would finally have the kind of vibrancy and competition in health insurance in America that will help control costs, help improve quality.
When it comes to health insurance and the bill that was recently passed, let me tell you some of the ramifications that already happened because of this. You are now forced to buy a product from a private corporation. Forced through penalty of law. theoretically, you could go to jail for not buying insurance. Now, some of the things that were set up there, still on? No? All right, some of the things that were set up there about buying across state lines, about getting out of the employer, I agree with wholeheartedly. What I disagree with, though, is the pre-existing condition part. And I'll tell you why. The reason is simple. Pre-existing conditions and allowing for that without a federal mandate will be the quickest way to single payer than anything that Barack Obama has ever put in place. And you cannot force people to take care of someone else without being paid for it. But we have to get rid of managed care altogether. It would be nice to just take care of everybody. It would really be nice to do that. But it's not feasible and it's not constitutional. And before this, before we had managed care, we had non-for-profit hospitals, charity places that were taking care of people. It was happening before this. But this is another way in which the federal government is trying to control us. And being able to control your health is one of the scariest things that I think I've ever seen. The Republican plan is repeal and replace. Replace with what? The plan that Barack Obama had implemented was the same plan that was in Massachusetts, was the same plan that was a Republican response in '94. Understand this, the Republicans will change very little. They'll mix the words around a little bit, but that's all. We will still be in a mandate, and we will still have the federal government controlling our lives. We need to get them out of the control of this as soon as possible. But accessibility and affordability will happen when you get rid of the regulation. That is when it will become more affordable. And we have a monetary policy that actually will provide for stable currency. That is the key. Thank you. Sir?
First of all, I think the government should be more worried about putting folks back to work. I mean, we're at 50 million people out of work, and they're worried about people being able to afford insurance. I mean, if they get the job market back up to where we don't have an unemployment rate, where people can actually afford to make a living again, don't have hyperinflation kicking in, they can probably afford insurance on their own. Health care is unconstitutional. 10th Amendment, of course, makes clear that. There's no jurisdiction there for it, so there should never be none. It comes to you with the jurisdiction, once again, under the 14th Amendment. It's a corporate jurisdiction. The same people that will be profited from health care, got to follow the dollar, will be the same bankers that control the Federal Reserve and the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. So they're just making the corporations play into some of their monopolies. It's the same people. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, if they really cared about our health, why would they do it to do it to our food? I mean, they kill almost every natural vitamin in our food and replace it with artificial vitamins. You can't find anything, any juice in a section of the supermarket that pasteurizing and homogenizing does not kill every natural vitamin in it. They're refortified like milk. Add vitamins A and D to it. Citric acid, all your juices, orange juice and everything is added to it as artificial vitamin C. They kill the naturally killed. I mean, if they're worried about our health, they should leave the vitamins and stuff in there that actually keep the folks healthy so the body can fight off diseases and cancers and stuff. I mean, they create the problem, and once again, now they present you with a solution that they will profit from. You know, don't give you the, now right now they're trying to ban vitamins. You know, they got them on the toxin list, they're trying to keep us from growing our own food. I mean, they keep us unhealthy, yeah, we're going to need doctors, and of course, they got the right standard right there with the pharmaceutical company, and the taxpayers got to pay the bill, and they make their profit off of it. I mean, it's a wonderful racket. It's a wonderful racket. I'm totally against it. It's unconstitutional. There's no jurisdiction for it. Thank you.
The next topic is about the free market. It's a simple question, gentlemen. This will, again, be just for those candidates present. What is one major characteristic of the free market? You will have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to answer. Mr. Riggs will be first, and Mr. Snicker will be taken from the Frank Vote Action Commission.
The first would be the main one, the one outlined in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. No law shall impair the obligation to contract. Our rights of contract are supposed to be unlimited. We're supposed to do business with who we want. All the jurisdiction, once again, for the licenses and businesses and everything else where the government interferes is a corporate 14th Amendment jurisdiction. The founding fathers made us a truly free people, kings on our own land. You're supposed to be able to make money your own way without the government interference. And because you can't do that, that's been taken away from us, been regulated and taxed and every which way, we're in the mess we're in now. We got 50 million people that ain't working. We got folks out there doing stuff that they probably shouldn't do to try to pay the bills. I mean, it's a sad state. I mean, I know a lot of folks out there right now selling pot and everything else, telling me that they have no other way to pay the bills. The jobs are gone. The fishing industry's gone. I mean, the government is, they pay the farmer not to grow, they put foreign crops in his place after subsidizing the foreigners. I mean, IRS gives tax grants to pay over our factories to relocate in third world countries. 50 million of our jobs we've lost that way. I mean, they don't even know what's going on. Everything they're doing seems to be working against us. The main thing about private enterprise is what the founding fathers gave us in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. No law shall incur the obligation of contract. If businesses can conduct business without government interference, it should be profitable. There's no reason it shouldn't be. Thank you.
See that kind of cordial thing going on in the debate, I handed him stuff back. The major characteristic of the free market is pretty simple, and it's actually the most important one. Choice. I don't know how to run your life. I don't know what's best for you. You do, because you're free people. And you have the choice of who you want to do business with. And when you find out all the information about companies, you have the choice to either work with those companies or to not work with those companies. It's that choice that's been taken away, which has allowed the government or allowed this country to get in the position that it's in today. That's the most important feature and characteristic. The free market's going to work, but the government is going to pervert it so it doesn't work correctly. Monopolies don't happen unless government has a role to play. That's why we need to be able to have the free choice to either get into contract with or to do whatever we want to do with who we wish, as long as we don't impede on the rights of another. That is the biggest key. So when it comes to the free market, the answer is choice. Now, because of choice, it allows for competition. So if a company gets real big and they start forgetting where they came from, other companies will pop up and take away their market share. The natural course of human existence is how we're going to be able to get from where we're at right now to where we're ultimately needing to be. Now, earlier in standing in here, how do we get the kind of things that other countries have, if for lack of a better word, how do we evolve as a society? It's not a fast process, it's a slow process, and it's a natural process. And it's through the free market that will be able to happen. Now, what we've had in the past 100 years is not the free market. It is not choice. So you cannot blame capitalism and the free market for where we're at today. You can blame crony corporatism and an overall eroding of our civil liberties and freedoms for why we're in the position that we're in today. We have to make sure that we remember that. Not only that, we have to make sure that we've spread that message. Once again, I don't know how to run your life. The federal